Okay, let's unpack this. We've got a truly unique deep dive for you today.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating stuff.
Our mission really is to explore something, well, deeply thought-provoking.
Wow.
Does the concept of the Shroud of Turin, the cloth many believe wrapped Christ, does that idea actually line up with biblical themes?
Right, purely from within the text itself. We're calling it an intrabiblical analysis.
Exactly. So we're looking only at the Bible's own internal logic. We've actually picked out 8 specific verses from Ezekiel, Luke, Proverbs, Job, Isaiah, Zechariah, Ecclesiastes.
A real cross-section.
Yeah. And we even checked them against different translations, like the old Septuagint, Young's Literal, Rotherham's, because sometimes, one word choice can just click everything into place.
It really can open things up.
What's really striking as you start pulling back the layers on these ancient texts is this profound tension, almost heartbreaking, really.
Between what?
Between God's perfect original design and, well, humanity's deep brokenness. It feels like the core conflict driving the whole scriptural story.
And what's compelling there is how Scripture builds this archetype. The persecuted anointed one. You see it with David, Saul throwing a javelin at him, or Job getting hammered with false accusations of impiety.
These are just random bad events then?
No, they feel like echoes, sort of prefiguring the Messiah, Jesus. Luke 2.21 mentions his naming, and the name itself, Yeshua, means YHWH saves. It packs that whole redemptive idea into the suffering itself.
So this brokenness, you mentioned, how does Scripture illustrate that? I feel like there's a strong visual metaphor involved.
Exactly. You look at Ezekiel 41.1, and it's all about these perfect divine temple measurements, God's ideal order, perfect structure.
Okay.
But then contrast that sharply with Proverbs 25.28. It paints humanity's fallen state as city broken down without walls. The Hebrew is Yirperutza.
Yirperutza.
Yeah. Think about it. Totally exposed, vulnerable. It lacks that spiritual restraint, the matzar. It throws you right back to that nakedness in Genesis 3 after the fall.
That image, a city broken down without walls. It's stark. But Scripture usually offers hope, right? How do we get from that state to blessing?
Well, Zechariah 8.10 paints that picture of life under a curse, total futility, no hire for man, everyone fighting each other, just bleak.
Doesn't sound great.
No. But then you see verses like Isaiah 7.25 and Ecclesiastes 5.1 ton showing the flip side, the restoration. You get pastoral peace, cattle grazing safely, and actual joy in your work, seen as a gift of God.
So it's a move from that curse of just toiling back to enjoying God's provision.
Precisely. A fundamental shift.
All right, so we've looked at these powerful images, the broken city, the persecuted one, the restoration. What's the single unifying theme pulling it all together? The big takeaway?
Well, the aha moment, I think, the insight connecting all these threads, is the Messiah as the divine covering and the one who restores the breach.
Okay.
Remember Genesis 3, God provides the first garments of skin. That implies sacrifice right from the start to cover human shame.
Right, the first covering.
Then the Messiah, who's sometimes called the living temple, he comes and repairs that breach, that broken wall, through his own sacrificial death. It fulfills that need for shed blood, like 1 Peter 1.17 talks about, as the ultimate covering for sin.
And this idea wasn't totally isolated, was it?
No, not at all. Even in texts outside the standard Bible, like the book of Enoch, you find echoes of this Son of Man figure playing a similar role. It shows how deep this concept ran.
Okay, now for the big question. Let's bring it back. What does all this biblical tapestry suggest about the concept of the Shroud of Turin? And again, we're talking thematic plausibility here, not trying to prove it physically.
Right. Well, look at the Gospels. They're very consistent after Jesus' death. Yeah. Matthew, Mark, Luke, they all mention his body being wrapped in a clean linen cloth. The Greek word is sindun.
Sindun, okay.
Yeah. John even adds details about other linen strips and a separate cloth for the head. So the wrapping in linen is clearly emphasized.
Wow, when you put it like that, the symmetry is incredible. Genesis sets up the need for a covering.
And the Gospels show it provided.
It really resonates, doesn't it? That's fascinating.
Indeed. Think about it. First, God provides garments of skin for sinful humanity's shame. Then, man, Joseph of Arimathea, provides the clean singeon to cover the sinless Son of God who took on all that human shame and nakedness.
It becomes this incredibly potent symbol of that covering, that mending of the breach.
Exactly. The ultimate physical symbol of it.
Okay, but here's a hurdle for many people. The idea of an image on the cloth. Doesn't the Bible strictly forbid making likenesses or images like the second commandment?
Yeah, that's a really important question, and it comes up a lot. But Scripture actually makes a distinction.
Okay.
It forbids idols made by human hands for worship. That's Exodus 20.4. But that's different from a divine sign given by God. Think of the pillar of fire guiding Israel, or the shining glory on Moses' face after he met with God. Those weren't forbidden.
So an image not made by man, but resulting from a divine act.
Exactly. If an image was formed supernaturally, say, by the resurrection event itself, it wouldn't be a man-made idol for worship. It would function more like a direct divine testimony. An unveiling, you could say, of the one who removed the veil between God and humanity, a sign of what God did, not what man made.
So stepping back, this whole deep dive really seems to show that the idea of a burial cloth, a linen singeon, maybe bearing a faint image of the crucified and resurrected Messiah, that concept is actually deeply, profoundly authentic to the Bible's own internal story, its symbols, its theology.
Thematic coherence is definitely there. It fits the narrative of brokenness, covering, and restoration beautifully.
So here's maybe a final thought for you, our listeners, to chew on. What if the most powerful evidence for an ancient story isn't always about external proof, but sometimes it's found in the incredible, almost divine coherence woven right through the texts themselves? Something to think about.